Chaos is brewing in Minnesota. Viking Nation, the storm starts now with a number that should make every Packers fan lose sleep. 43 wins. That's how many games the Vikings won under the man they just fired. A general manager dismissed, a safety search live at the NFL Combine, and a quarterback with a cannon arm and a trade request sitting on the table. 3 stories, 1 off-season. And Skull Nation, by the time this ends, you'll understand exactly where this franchise is headed, and why the next 72 hours could define the next 5 years. If you bleed purple and gold, hit that like button right now and let's ride. First stop, the firing that everybody's still trying to explain. The room went silent the moment the name dropped. A 14-win team. A general manager who built a 43-25 record from scratch. Gone. Just like that. So what actually happened inside the Vikings organization? The truth, according to ESPN's Peter Schrager, is sharper than anyone expected. And it all comes down to one decision at quarterback. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah had Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and an interested Aaron Rodgers in the building. And he said no. Schrager laid it out bluntly on ESPN's Get Up on February 26th. They fired the GM because he had Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and an interested Aaron Rodgers in the building. And he said, no, we're good with JJ and Max Brosmer and Carson Wentz are going to be his backups. That quote landed like a thunderclap across the NFL world, and Viking Nation is still processing it. Here's the full picture. Adofo-Mensah arrived in January 2022 with an unconventional, analytics-driven approach that ownership embraced. Over 4 seasons alongside Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings went 43-25 in the regular season and reached the playoffs twice. But the 2025 season cracked everything open. A 9-8 record, a playoff miss, mounting tension inside the building that multiple league sources described to ESPN's Adam Schefter as, quote, ugly. Ownership didn't pull the trigger in the immediate aftermath of the season. They waited 26 days, wanting to avoid what Ziggy Wilf called a knee-jerk reaction. Then the axe fell anyway. The quarterback question sits at the center of all of it. Adofo-Mensah chose to roll with J.J. McCarthy and a backup room of Carson Wentz and Max Brosmer over established veterans. McCarthy then missed significant time with injury in 2025. The Vikings reportedly did make a similar offer to Daniel Jones as what he ultimately accepted in Indianapolis. They just never closed the deal. Whether the decision to stay the course with McCarthy was Adofo-Mensah's call or O'Connell's remains debated. But ownership made clear who they held responsible. Some will argue the long-term bet on McCarthy was defensible. 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers is not MVP Aaron Rodgers from 2020, and Jones's elite sample size was just 13 games. But in the NFL, perception is everything, and the perception was opportunity missed. Does the firing of Adofo-Mensah mean the Vikings are abandoning J.J. McCarthy? Drop your answer below, and smash that like if you believe the ownership made the right call. But while the front office shakeup dominates the headlines, the team's football operations are quietly making moves at the NFL Combine that could define this defense for the next decade. Because Harrison Smith's heir apparent? He just told the world the Vikings like him. The scouts are watching, the stopwatches are clicking, and in Indianapolis at the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine, one safety from Fort Worth, Texas just put himself directly on the Vikings' radar, and he wasn't shy about it. His name? Bud Clark. TCU, 15 career interceptions, former baseball center fielder, and a ball hawk mentality that screams Minnesota Vikings safety in a way the football world hasn't seen since a certain number 22 walked into US Bank Stadium for the first time. Clark spoke plainly at his media availability on February 26th. I have formally met with the Vikings. It was pretty good. We went over defenses. I was very knowledgeable in those meetings, so I feel like they like me. Viking Nation? That confidence? That's earned. Here's why this matters. Harrison Smith, 14-year Viking, franchise legend, the quarterback-reading, ball-hawking heartbeat of Minnesota's secondary, may have played his final NFL game. The farewell he received after Week 18 of 2025 suggested as much, and the Vikings cannot afford to walk into 2026 without a plan. Consensus top safety Caleb Downs is likely gone before Minnesota picks at number 18. That's why the team is doing its homework across multiple Day 2 prospects. Oregon's Dylan Thieneman, who could sneak into the first round, also confirmed a meeting with Minnesota, along with safety VJ Payne. But Clark stands out for one specific reason: fit. NFL.com evaluator Lance Zierlein described Clark as a coverage versatile safety in a cornerback's body with the talent to range over the top or man up on the slot. His instincts and ball skills, 15 interceptions and 21 pass breakups across 61 college games, give him the playmaking profile that coordinator Brian Flores deploys to maximum effect. His versatility would complement Josh Metellus' role and could allow Flores to expand his multiple-look defensive packages in ways that would give NFC North offenses nightmares. The one concern scouts flag is size. A lack of bulk could create durability questions against bigger tight ends. But the good, as Zierlein noted, outweighs the bad. And here's the wider context. Mock draft trackers show the Vikings have been linked to Clemson cornerback Avion Terrell 57 times heading into the combine, more than any other prospect by a massive margin. So cornerback may be the #1 priority. But a cornerback body safety who can play man on the slot? That solves two problems with one pick. Do you want Bud Clark as Harrison Smith's heir in Minneapolis? Drop your answer in the comments. But before you do, there's a story coming out of Indianapolis that could completely rewrite J.J. McCarthy's backup room. A quarterback with generational arm talent just asked out of his team. And some people think he belongs in purple. The arm is real. The athleticism is real. The ceiling? Maybe the highest of any quarterback alive. His name is Anthony Richardson, 4th overall pick in 2023, 23 years old. And as of February 26th, he has formally requested a trade out of Indianapolis, with the Minnesota Vikings already surfacing as an interested team, according to NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe. Viking Nation, the dots are connecting fast. Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback whisperer who helped Kirk Cousins play the best football of his career, who unlocked Sam Darnold's MVP-level season, has been publicly linked to Richardson's development since 2024. The question isn't whether the fit makes sense. The question is whether the cost is worth it. Richardson's story reads like a Greek tragedy written in spiral passes. The Colts took him 4th overall in 2023, on the back of an arm that Colts head coach Shane Steichen once called the best throw he had ever seen. But an AC joint sprain wiped out most of his rookie year. His sophomore campaign produced 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and a passer rating of 61.6, dead last among qualifying quarterbacks in accuracy. Then an orbital fracture suffered in pre-game warm-ups in Week 6 of 2025 ended his season before it truly started. Daniel Jones stepped in, played well enough for Indianapolis to want him long-term, and Richardson's time in Indy officially expired. His cap hit for 2026 is $10.8 million, the final guaranteed year of his rookie deal, with a team option for 2027 worth over $23 million. But ESPN's Kevin Seifert issued a direct warning to the Vikings on February 26th, writing, "The Vikings understandably will be connected here, given Kevin O'Connell's well-publicized support of AR in 2024. But everyone should think through the practicality of conducting a reclamation project alongside the presumed ongoing development of J.J. McCarthy." That's the core tension. O'Connell's staff is already committed to developing McCarthy. To simultaneously take on Richardson's mechanical rebuild, timing, accuracy, decision-making, all areas that have been chronic weaknesses, could stretch Minnesota's offensive coaching staff past its limits. Unlike Malik Willis, who had 2 full years left on his deal when Green Bay acquired him, Richardson arrives with just 1 year guaranteed. The Vikings would be betting on a high-variance reclamation project with a tight timeline and a crowded quarterback room. Does Anthony Richardson belong in Minnesota? Or does the risk outweigh the reward? Leave your hottest take below. And if you believe Kevin O'Connell can unlock what Indianapolis never could, smash that like and let the NFC North know Skol Nation believes. 3 stories. 1 earthquake. The firing of Adolfo Mensa strips the mask off an organization that chose the future over the present and got punished for it by ownership who saw veterans walking out the door. The Bud Clark connection reveals a front office preparing for life without a legend, quietly building the next generation of Viking defense at the Combine. And the Anthony Richardson chase? That's the wild card. The thunderbolt that could either complete Kevin O'Connell's quarterback laboratory or overload it entirely. Here's what the NFC North picture looks like right now. The Packers cleared $22 million in cap space and are reportedly targeting the same free agent pool as Minnesota. Detroit is coming off a strong year and believes its window is open. Chicago is rebuilding. The Vikings sit at a crossroads. No GM, a developing quarterback, a legendary safety possibly retired, and a blockbuster trade target who comes with enormous risk. The margin for error in 2026 is razor thin. But the ingredients for something historic are all on the table. An offensive genius as head coach, a young quarterback with a clean slate and something to prove, a deep draft class full of defensive talent, and an ownership group that just showed it will not accept mediocrity. Here's what Skull Nation needs to do right now. 1. Smash that. Like if you believe this roster, rebuilt right, can win the NFC North in 2026. 2. Drop a comment with your single most important move of this offseason. Trade for Richardson, draft Bud Clark, or find a new GM first. 3. Hit subscribe, because every subscriber sends a message to Lambeau Field that Minnesota is coming, and the Packers already know it. But here's where the cliff gets steep. There is still no general manager in Minnesota. The front office is operating without a permanent football decision-maker heading into the most consequential draft in years. The Richardson trade window is narrow. Multiple teams are circling, and the Colts won't wait forever. Every day without a GM is a day another team gains an edge. And that Bud Clark meeting at the Combine? It means nothing if the person who pulls the trigger on draft night doesn't share the same vision. One signature, one decision, one domino, and the entire offseason changes direction. SKOL Nation, the clock is ticking. Hit subscribe, stay locked, and let's make the NFC North bleed purple. We ride together.